companions. I thought I'd give you some more stories about waterholes, even some of the different other waterholes I had come across in the wilderness over the years. So, an introductory remark. The African biome is quite varied. It can stay homogeneous over huge distances, hundreds of kilometers, but then it can change quite rapidly into something very different. Even inside the homogeneous areas, you could have subbiomes that are very different. So you end up getting different combinations of veld type, ungulate, and predator. And I always find it fascinating to discover what the biome really is like and how it works, because it differs so much from veld type to veld type. Animals of the same species even have different habits and behavior patterns depending on the circumstances, the veld type, the availability of water, the presence of predators, what type of predator, what type of competition they have, recent events like veld fires, disturbances. Now, I already knew from the morning's walk that there were several different species in the area. Elephant, sable, roan, buffalo, wildebeest, kudu, and so on. Now, from studying the sign at this waterhole a bit more closely, I began to get the impression that the animals that were visiting, they came mainly at night, and they were small groups or single animals. The elephant, for example, was about 6 to 8 with no bulls, so it was a breeding herd, and elephant breeding herds are led by a matriarch, and they're made up usually of close family, extended family, and she will keep them in an area for as long as there's enough food and water and there are no disturbances. If any of that changes, she will lead them away to a different place that she knows of in her elephant memory. Now, elephant breeding herds, in my experience, are not particularly territorial. So there could be more than one breeding herd in this area, but it seemed to me as if only one visited this waterhole. They came from the same direction, left in the same direction, and they had their mud bath, but no other herd seemed to visit. The buffalo, in turn, there were about 5 or 6, it seemed to me, and it was a bachelor herd, because there were no calf or young spoor. Their tracks weren't particularly big for bull tracks, so not particularly large-bodied bulls. Younger bulls and old bulls that have become weaker, they leave breeding herds where bulls are aggressive and brutish, and they form these bachelor herds. And it's a loose association of bulls. They come and go, and there is a kind of a hierarchy in the bachelor herd, mainly established by the more permanent members. But it's a less aggressive and a less competitive environment. Now, the sable tracks were also of small groups or individuals. And I got the impression that this was also a bachelor herd. There were maybe, I would guess, 6 to 10. Sable also have this habit of the younger bulls forming bachelor herds when they get pushed out of the nursery herds. They stay in these bachelor herds until they are strong enough to establish their own territory. The nursery herds, the females, form their own herds, usually led by a dominating female, and they move around through the territory. Now, the wildebeest of which we found the tracks, I assumed was the same herd we saw a bit earlier this morning. And wildebeest, the bulls, once they are mature and strong enough, they form their own territories, which they will defend aggressively against other bulls that come there. And again, the females circulate around in nursery groups, and if they come into a bull's territory, the bull will herd them and keep them there. So there, the sable and the wildebeest are very similar. But wildebeest are much more nomadic. Now, wildebeest will follow rain, and you could get several smaller groups like the one that we saw earlier this morning, congregating on an area where it had rained from different directions over huge distances, many tens of kilometers. The zebra, which are their followers, will join them there. And the reason, of course, is that both species have a strong preference for short green grass. Now, it's not well understood how the wildebeest find out where it has rained. It is probably a combination of hearing the thunder over huge distances, of course, seeing the lightning at night, also over huge distances, 40, 60 kilometers, I guess. And some biologists think that they sense changes in atmosphere. Others think that petrichor, which is the aroma released when it rains, might play a role, especially maybe if they come closer. And this is part of the fascination of the wilderness to me, what makes me want to understand what is going on. So now, companions, I was beginning to understand that animals preferred to visit the waterholes at night. B, mainly in smaller groups. Now, that could mean different things, and I didn't quite understand yet why only at night. I had my suspicions, which I shared with you in my previous blog, and we'll explore that a bit more. And the smaller groups was also not 100% explainable. It could be that the same disturbance that have caused the animals to only come and drink at night had caused the larger herds to move away, and these were the left behind stragglers that were still in the area. It could also be that the game population in the area in general, although varied, might be small, and these were as big as the herds became. I couldn't say yet. I would have to spend more time in the area exploring and checking to get to the bottom of it. In the following days, I will be exploring the area more by walking and checking at other waterholes we might come across, and hopefully we will begin to understand exactly what is going on in the area. For now, I think this is quite enough. I hope you enjoyed this and that you are going to join me again next week. Good luck until then.